Our next speaker, the Honorable Al Green, represents the 9th Congressional District of Houston, Texas. It is a distinct honor to have him share with us his vision of assisting the great veterans of our nation. Congressman Al Green was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. He graduated from the Thurgood Marshall Law School at Texas Southern University here in Houston, Texas. After co-founding the law firm of Green, Wilson, Dewberry, and Fitch, he was elected to the position of Justice of the Peace. Congressman Al Green is currently serving the 9th Congressional District of Texas in the House of Representatives. Since arriving to Congress, Congressman Al Green has sponsored more than 14 veteran-related bills, including but not limited to Housing Fairness Act, Homes for Heroes Act, Haven Act, Transportation for Heroes Act, supporting the goals and ideals of National Salute to Hospitalized Veterans Week, Veterans, Women, Families with Children, and Persons with Disabilities Housing Fairness Act, Veterans Homelessness Prevention Act. Congressman Al Green has also supported veterans issues by co-sponsoring over 140 bills in Congress. Congressman Al Green proudly serves on the Committee of Financial Service as the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. I ask that you give a warm welcome and expression of gratitude from the American Legion to the Honorable Congressman Al Green.
Thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. After such a splendid introduction, I assure you I can hardly wait to hear myself speak. And I'd probably better be good. Let me thank the commander, the national commander, Mr. Jimmy Couts, for his kind words. And I happen to know that this is his last day on the job. And I want you to know that while this is his last day on the job, we will still remember him, because I am going to make sure that we place in the record of Congress that he did serve. We're going to talk about his tenure in office, and we're going to let the world know that he did a great job. Would you give him a big expression of appreciation, please? Let's show him some Texas-sized love for all the years of service that he's rendered to us. Thank you so very much. Dear friends, I want to thank each and every one of you, all 14,000 posts, all 2.4 million, for your 94 years of service. I think 94 years of service to the men and women of our military, and indeed to our country, merits a special expression of appreciation. Can we hear it, please, for 94 years of service? Now let me take just a brief moment and thank some persons who are not here. You know of whom I speak. These are persons who go to distant places. And many of them, dear friends, don't always return the way they left. These are the persons who serve us in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and in many other distant places. And I always tell people, regardless as to how we feel about the various wars, we ought to want every one of our persons in uniform to come home safely. Please, let's give them a special expression of appreciation. The people who serve us in our military, somebody might want to stand up simply because of who they are and what they do for us. If they're willing to stand up for us in Afghanistan, we can stand up for them here today. Let's hear it for them. Please, the people who serve us. I have to share this very brief vignette with you, National Commander. While traversing in another state, I lost my way. I was trying to find a certain venue. And in looking for this venue, passed by a VA hospital. And when I looked over to my right, there was a sign in front of the VA hospital. The sign in front of the hospital caused me to have an epiphanous moment. The sign read, "Come in and see the price of freedom." Come in and see the price of freedom. And if you go into a VA hospital, you will see the price of freedom, and it won't be silver, it won't be gold, it will be people who are patriotic, who have no longer an arm that they can hug a loved one with, may not have a leg that they can chase a ball with a child with. These are people who have given much to us. And these are people that we must respect and show that we care for them every day that our country exists. I assure you, we must give our veterans the respect that they've earned. Let us make sure that we do this by and through our actions in Congress. We have to do it. And I want you to know that the verdict is in. And if there was someone who had some doubt prior to the verdict coming in, there should be no doubt, none in my mind, that what happened at Fort Hood, Texas, with Nidal Hasan was an act of terrorism. It was an act of terrorism. It ought to be treated as such. And it is time for those families who have suffered to be properly compensated for the suffering that they've endured and for the loved ones that they've lost. It's time for us to compensate the families. And I want you to know as well that I honor people who have served us in many of our wars. I honor persons who went to Okinawa, the last part of World War II. It was the last battle. And I honor Mr. Delbert Belton. And I say to you without question, reservation, hesitation, or equivocation, we cannot allow those who can survive battles like Okinawa to come back to the United States of America and meet an untimely death at the hands of someone on the streets of this country. Those who are involved in this, regardless of race, creed, color, national origin, regardless of circumstance in life, they must be punished to the fullest extent that the law allows. We cannot allow it to happen. We must do all that we can to take care of our veterans. If we can spend $1 trillion, and this is what we've done recently, if we can spend $1 trillion to put them in harm's way, we can spend whatever it takes when they get back to this country to make sure that they have the best health care that the world can provide, make sure they get the best housing that we can afford, and make sure that every one of them has a good job so that they can take care of their families. This is the least a grateful nation can do. And when I say take care of their families, I indeed mean their families. Because when we send one of our military people abroad, when we put them in harm's way, that family is in harm's way as well. That family is there with them in spirit. And I'm just going to ask, if you are a family member, not a veteran, but you're a family member of a veteran, would you stand at this time, please? We owe you an expression of appreciation. All family members of veterans, would you kindly stand, please? Please stand. There's one, here's some over here. Here are family members. Let's give them a hand, please, and thank them for supporting our veterans. Now, what are we doing in Congress? Quickly. We did pass Homes for Heroes. Homes for Heroes was a holistic approach to dealing with veterans who find themselves living on the streets of life. It affords them more than a place to shelter. It affords them the opportunity to go from shelter to a home, to go from shelter to a home to a job, to have the kind of opportunity that we expect them to have when they come back to this country. And I am proud to tell you that it passed the House of Representatives overwhelmingly. And I'm proud to tell you that it has been picked up in other pieces of legislation, because we should never see a sign being carried by someone on the street that reads, "Veteran, homeless, need help, We must get every veteran off the street and into a place that they can call home. This is our mission. I know it's your goal. Let's move forward together to get all of our veterans into a place called home. Some of our veterans need the homes that they have rehabbed so that they can utilize them. They need countertops lowered. They need bathrooms remodified so that they can use them effectively. Friends, we have a bill, the Haven Act, passed the House, passed the Senate, went to conference committee, and a strange thing happened. It disappeared. But I will not give up, and I'm proud to tell you that the Federal Home Loan Bank has a Haven grant that they are giving to veterans to rehab their homes. Let's continue to fight to make sure every veteran not only has a home, but can use that home the same way I use my home. And let's give a special expression of appreciation to the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas for their Haven Act grants. Let's give them a special expression of appreciation. Haven grants, Haven grants. Now I want to mention two more things and I'll close. We discovered that there are veterans who die, many of them are penniless. They're paupers. Not the kind of thing that I would have happen to a veteran. But when they die, they don't have anyone to afford them money for clothing, for a proper burial. They don't have the money for transportation so that they can get to a proper burial venue. And as a result of this, we have concluded that we are going to sponsor a bill that will be styled Burial with Dignity for Our Heroes. No veteran ought to have people trying to scrape up money for a decent burial. It's time for the United States of America to cover the burial for every veteran that dies. They have earned the right to a decent burial, and we must fight for it. The next time you come to Houston, Texas, my hope is that we will have passed our legislation styled Transportation for Heroes. You might note that all of this legislation ends in heroes. We are passing or pushing a piece of legislation that will allow every veteran to ride on a transportation system that is subsidized with your tax dollars. If it is subsidized with your tax dollars, I believe veterans ought to be able to get a discount. The bill allows veterans to get the same discounts that senior citizens get, that persons who have some handicap may get, and that is a 50% discount off of peak hour fares. Every veteran ought to get to ride a transit system at a reduced price. And finally, friends, notwithstanding all that I've said, I sincerely believe that in my heart, on a bad day, it's good to live in the USA. On a bad day, it's great to be an American. On a bad day, when your spouse wants to divorce you, it's good to live in the USA. On a bad day, when your dog that you reared from a pup wants to bite you, it's good to live in the USA. On a bad day, when your dog wants to bite you and your spouse wants to leave you, thank God you live in the USA. On a bad day, it's good to live in the USA. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Let's keep fighting for our veterans. I hope to see you at your 95th convention. I hope that all will continue to go well for you. God bless you. Thank you for allowing me to be with you.